What's up everyone, it's Riley at Lacrosse Unlimited and we are going to string up a customer stick here. We have the brand new StringKing Mark III V in the raw colorway, so let's get started. StringKing, shout out to you for having sticks with 29 stringing holes your last decade or so, and now saying that's not enough and putting 32, giving me more than enough options. So for this one, I'm gonna start my top string on the second hole, double loop start, because thankfully these holes are absolutely massive. Pull all the slack out, make it good. These StringKing heads just keep getting better. Didn't think it was possible, but the 3V has been so much fun to use. Testing it out, it's been a great time. Stringing it's been an absolute breeze, thank God, because we already knew StringKing heads were good for that. So now we're gonna be able to just breeze through this one as always. All these extra additional top string holes are awesome. We're gonna do just string a classic 4-point top string, keep it simple. Do our typical anchors. Got that, we're gonna pull this one across, skipping the 3 middle holes. Front of the scoop, hey-oh. Pull that all the way through. Back of the scoop, come on. Pull it through. Rock all that tension out and back through the mesh. Next one, skipping that middle diamond, pull all this slack out, continue our way across. You know, different options, having the ability to string with, you know, all 10 top string holes is super fun, but there's so many different ways, but for the sake of the video, we're gonna keep things as simple as possible. All right, last one, anchor that off, and we'll finish again on the far side with a double loop finish in that second hole like we did at this start. Might be the world record for top string on my end. Here we go. Pull that slack out, loop it back through, and we'll finish it off. Again, just tighten that up, make sure everything's all out. Good. And finish off with a double knot. Keep it nice and tight. All right, now we'll bump over to the sidewalls. Mr. Hall ordered a low pocket, so we're gonna be able to get some simple tie downs all the way to the bottom, create a channel, and then we'll move on from there, getting some depth in the bottom of the pocket, keeping things super simple. Cut and burn, make sure it's not fraying off, and we are moving on to the first sidewall. So for this, I'm gonna start this sidewall off. I'm actually gonna skip the next hole and I'm gonna go into the next one, get that double loop start. This is even though all of the holes are very decently sized, I think of the top string holes, this is one of the last larger ones as they start to go a little smaller as we go down the stick. So pull that out. Okay, and then just to be clear, do the same thing on the other side. Love how these stringing holes are just placed perfectly. Not only is there just a ample amount, but shape of them, never gonna worry about them breaking with these crazy amounts of stringing holes. Definitely makes stringing a lot easier for us. Now we're gonna do a lot of pull downs, simple knots, dragging the pocket all the way to the lowest part of the stick. So right now, I'm gonna skip 2 holes, do a knot, outside of the plastic, up through the mesh, down through the top of that hole. Same thing on the other side, skipping 2. Finish that off. pull all the slack out. Now, for this one, we're actually gonna pull down even further. We're gonna skip 3 on this one. So what I like doing, I just like pulling the mesh to see how far down it could go without much effort. And that's where I'll pretty much tie it off. I don't wanna sit here and manipulate the plastic of the head, drag it down too far. That's where you start getting into issues of, you know, warping the head, making things go wrong. Another thing, I've said this in videos prior, as you'll see as you string it down, sometimes the channel will seem like it's a little bit too tight. Breaking in the pocket negates that completely. Now for this one, we're gonna go again, skipping 3. This is where the holes are super tight together, so skipping a lot of holes sounds pretty detrimental, but you know, with the StringKing sticks, that's gonna be no problem at all. Especially when you have 32 sidewall holes. There's just endless options. I think the benefit of having so many sidewall holes with the StringKing heads is the fact that you don't run out of options. If you want to make a change that's this big, you have the actual ability to do it. So now we're going to do one more knot, but we're only going to skip 2 for this. Let it bunch up a little bit. Put some extra mesh in the middle here. That way the pocket starts to ease up a little bit. Not as much tension. Again, simple knots here, nothing crazy. So now let's start forming the pocket in the lower part of this stick. We're gonna do 1s all the way down. So now it's just a matter of placing them how you'd like with where you want the pocket. So I want to add a little more depth here. So I'm only gonna skip 1 hole. Here we go. Other side, doing a 1, skipping 1 hole. Nice and easy. All that slack out. And as always, just preference, I'm always pushing the mesh up as I string along. Just something I've found comforting, you know, seeing where the pocket's gonna go so I don't have to make as many adjustments later on. Another 1, skipping a single hole, same thing. And now I don't have like a predetermined pattern of this is what I have to do. This is how you string a low pocket. I'm kind of just stringing as I go along and seeing like, all right, if I put this hole here, this will function a different way. This will bunch up here, add a lot more tension, drag the channel wider, tighter, whatever it may be. I keep going. Another 1. This time I'm gonna skip 2 holes because I want to drag that pocket a little further down. Same thing. Another 1, skipping 2 holes. Right. Back to the other side. Another 1. This one, skipping 2 holes. Same thing, matching the other side. 1, skip 2 holes. Anchoring it off. All right. And now for our last one, same exact thing. We're gonna go 1, back of the mesh, skip 2 holes, tie it off. And then before we finish the other side, let's go through that last sidewall hole and then just tie it off with a simple double knot. Here we go. All right. Last one. 1 on the other side, skip 2 holes, tie it off. And last but not least, out through that last hole and tie it off to the knot. So now from here, I think personally, pocket looks pretty good. I think this would suffice for our low pocket for this order. Obviously now we're gonna see the pocket's sitting a little bit too tight in the top. We're breaking it in, we'll change that. So I'm comfortable here. Let's cut and burn these strings and we'll be able to move on to breaking in the pocket a little more. Here we are, 1, 2. Burn them off, make sure they're not going anywhere. Okay, we have our bottom string. We're gonna go from here, have it in your hands. Pull that out. Same thing as I've always done. I like going through that last 10 diamond row that we strung on the sidewall. So I'm gonna count 2 in, And then I'll weave all the way across, keeping things very simple. I think weaving the bottom strings pretty much gives it a chance to bunch up at the bottom, which when you create a one-handed or even two-handed with a lower pocket, it allows the ball to sit pretty nice. So from here, I'm gonna go from the outside in. So StringKing's obvious reasoning for putting a million sidewall holes or bottom string holes, you have endless options. So there's no right or wrong way to tying it off. I'm just gonna take it, go through these secondary holes here, and then I'll go down through the middle together. Pull that slack out from here. Even though the sidewall strings determine how deep the pocket's gonna be, I get to add a little additional depth or take some out with the bottom string. So that's something I've always liked. Pocket seems good there. Let's take those strings, tie them off nice and easy. Little loop here. That way it can flex a little bit. Nothing crazy. Get all that slack out of there. Looks good to me. So now from here, all this extra slack, take that, burn it off. Okay. As you can see here, we have the StringKing Mark III-V with a low pocket for Reggie Hall. So shout out to you. We appreciate you coming to Lacrosse Unlimited for this order. We're looking forward to seeing this one on the field. We appreciate you guys watching the videos. If you're interested in more stringings or tutorials like this one, make sure you check us out on YouTube. So again, this is Riley from Lacrosse Unlimited with the StringKing Mark III-V. We will see you and this pocket on the field very soon.